Hello, and welcome to SUP'n Hap'n. This is episode 2, board repair. So the last time we met, I was out in some solid beach break on the stand-up paddleboard. Unfortunately, on my way in, I snapped it. So today I'm going to be taking you along as I put it back together and take it out once again. The board in question here is a 10-6 all-arounder. It's a good beginner board. And it's good for flat water, small surf, not so much for big surf, but it's the only one I got, so I took it out anyways. And it's standard construction for stand-up paddleboards these days, which is based on old sailboard technology, and it's an expanded polystyrene core with fiberglass and epoxy resin shell finishing it off. The polystyrene is quite brittle, and the epoxy is quite strong. So we're going to be working through the process today. Step 1. Remove debris and track pad. So we're going to be removing any pieces of fiberglass that have become cracked or detached from the core, and we're going to be removing the track pad and the adhesive underneath. Now use a gentle heat and try to bring up the track pad with the adhesive in one shot. What happened here is I tore off pieces of the track pad, and now I have to remove the adhesive after the fact. So if you just warm it up a little, it comes off quite easily with this flat metal blade. Step 2. Tape off and sand. So we're going to tape off and protect the rest of the board from this work, and we're going to use about a 60 grit sandpaper to get started and remove any of the remaining adhesive and rough edges around the area that we're going to be working. And now we need to straighten the board out. What I did is I built a frame out of 2x4s and scrap wood with some carpet scraps, set the board on there, strapped it down with some ratcheting straps, got the angle set just right, and now it's going to stay in this position for the rest of the repair. Now we're going to remove some additional material. Mark off the area to remove, make sure we get rid of all the loose fiberglass. I'm using a router here with a specific depth set, so I'm not cutting into the core, just the glass on top. I'm routing in a couple slots here to try to add some structural integrity. Now we're going to use a lightweight epoxy filler to fill in the spots where the foam has been damaged or is missing. And so we're going to tape off the area, we're going to mix up some resin, and I'm going to put some glass actually in those slots that I made with the router. Next we're going to add some lightweight Q-cell or microspheres to the epoxy to make it lighter, and we're going to start filling in the areas of the foam that are damaged. Just going to kind of spread it around, fill in the holes. My goal at all times with this epoxy resin is to leave the least amount of sanding and finishing later, because it's very durable and it's hard to sand, so I like to try to get it as smooth as possible. I did end up doing a couple passes with this filler, especially on the rails. I added a thickening agent. You'll see towards the end I wrapped it up with tape to create the shape of the rail. Alright, now for my favorite part, sand. So I'm using 60 grit sandpaper here. I'm evening out all the lumps and bumps, unevenness, any rough edges. I'm roughing up the surrounding glass to create a good surface for that new resin and glass to adhere to. And that takes us to our next step, which is glassing. I'm going to lay a layer of 6 ounce, the same size as the hole. I'm going to go to another layer of 6 ounce that's 1 inch larger than that. Next we're going to go to a layer of 4 ounce, an inch larger than that, and extending up into the foot areas. And then for the last part we're going to do another layer of 4 ounce covering everything and extending all the way around the rails. We're going to start laying in some resin here, get that bottom layer of 6 ounce adhered nicely to the open area. And then we're going to move on and bring the rest of the glass over and start laminating it on. I'm going to wrap it around the rail, nice and clean. Do both both sides. The main goal here is to not have any air bubbles that would create weaknesses, and not to have too much resin so you build up an area, but you're going to squeegee some of it out and make sure you don't leave it dry. Wrap it around the rails, pull off some of the tape. I'm using a roller here to kind of smooth out the edges so I don't have a sharp edge near the edge where the tape was. That pretty much finishes up the glassing portion. Next, we're going to finish sand. I'm going to use some 220 grit sandpaper here to work around the edges, take off any rough edges, any lumps and bumps, any burrs created by the glass. I'm going to take care around the water line, and I'm also going to be careful not to sand too deep and compromise the integrity of the glass of the repair or the surrounding area. Next, we're going to paint and reapply a track pad. So I'm going to mask off the areas. I'm not going for an exact color match here, just a rough approximation. So I'm just going to take care not to overspray onto the rest of the board. I left the area under the track pad blank. Next, I'm going to apply the track pad. I found this material. It's not exactly the same color, but it is the same pattern and various sizes. So I'm going to cut it to fit. Also put in this camera mount, and next thing we have to do is test this puppy out.